Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of the Squid QE podcast with guests. Today's guest is a pro Quake 1 player with a lot of experience and tournament champ, pretty much. Today's guest is Bosh. Bosh, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about some of the experiences that you've had in Quake 1 and stuff.
So basically, and I've been playing since I think it was like maybe mid 2000s, 2001 I started.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been really interesting. I mean, the game evolved a lot. It went through different phases. A bunch of different players came and went. Different mods got big. They slowed down. They died, and then a bunch of people would come go back and forth between Quake World and yeah. I mean, it's been over 20 years. It's been pretty interesting. Yeah, a lot of people came and went. It's been a great run. It still is, and it's kind of cool that they got this the remake that kind of brought a boost to the game. So that's been pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's technically. I mean, I know some people refer to it as it's not technically a remake. It's just kind of like the way Kex engine works is like it kind of like sits on top the existing engine, and then it's kind of like a framework, So it kind of works in that way though. But yeah, I do agree. Like the enhanced edition, as I said before, has definitely brought life into the game and stuff. So that's very good there. But how long have you been playing Quake and stuff?
Been yeah, since like 2001. There's been a lot of offs and on. I mean, I've taken hiatuses. It's like sometimes there's times where it just completely died, but there's been some really good runs. Like I remember, like, see, I got kind of lucky. I started playing when I was really young. I was in, what was I, grade 6. I don't even know how old I was, but I started technically before that. I actually started in grade 4. And I was just playing with the keyboard. I still remember the server. It was like quake.dread.net. It was based out of Montreal. And what happened was, I don't know, the keyboard, I was just getting smoked all the time. I couldn't grab it. And then years later, like I grew up with Kwong and his brothers, so they were playing. They were the ones who got me on. But then I came back a couple years later, grade 6, and then I basically was using his config. And then I just started going from there, and it was mostly back when I started. It was a lot of like there was a lot of public CTF going on, and there was a lot of like Clan Arena, some Rocket Arena here and there. It's never been anything big with Quake 1, but then yeah, there was some really good runs with even DM2 got pretty big as well. It was going at the same time when there was a lot of CA going on, Clan Arena, and then a lot of pub CTF. But the CR CTF, the one that I usually play, it was pretty much dead back then, but because like I grew up with Kwong and his brother, they used to play a lot, so we always used to I used to one-on-one a lot with his brother, with Kwong's brother. So we would one-on-one. It was like a competitive thing. We'd go back and forth, and this is in CTF, so it was like no one really one-on-one on CTF. So I was able to really grab the maps that way. I was really able to get the maps down that way, because it's just when you're one-on-one, you really get to focus on everything, right? So I went from there. I was playing a lot of public CTF, and then when I got good enough, I started going into the other servers. There was a lot of people playing when I first jumped on, like a lot of really good people. But right when I came around, it was like within 6 months the game like got cut in half. That's what I feel like. Like a lot of guys, like once Quake 3 came out, it was like a wave just kind of migrated over.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like I don't know what it is. I guess some people probably just came along and were like, "Hey, this looks like something new, and we'll play this for a little while." And then after a while, they probably got a lot of people like they like well, I mean, some people like diversity, so it's stuff like that there. So like people just kind of want to come and play something new here. So that's why like it's important to keep your games like as a developer and stuff. The longer you support your games, the more alive it'll be there. So like as you bring new updates into games and stuff like that, that's what's going to bring more people, because that's what people want to see. Is they want to see something new and something that they haven't seen yet in the game, and kind of go from there and stuff there. So but yeah, I know CTF had quite a big history on Quake and stuff, and I really like seeing that, and I'm so glad even today, like inspired a lot of other, capture the flag style games and stuff like that. So that's always pretty cool there. I don't have a lot of history myself with CTF. I mean, I have played it, yeah, and it is pretty fun, yeah. But it's obviously one of those games where, like you have to kind of like get like a team started and stuff like that there. So sometimes that could be another thing too, because it's pretty hard to get like a good team going and stuff like that, because you need like a certain amount of players for it to be like fun and stuff there. So but other than that, yeah, CTF is very good. I did enjoy the times when I have played on it and stuff like that there. So it's very good that some people still keep it alive.
It's the only mod that really keeps me, like, I feel like keeps me 100% on my toes. There's like no stop. Like, I remember when I was younger, like if someone tried to talk to me when I was playing CTF, you couldn't talk to me. I was in another world. It was so focus based. You have to be like, you're running a flag, you're trying to time the quad, you're trying to figure out where people are, you're trying to see what route to take. There's so many factors going on with CTF. And another thing I noticed, like really good DMers, it was like they had a certain type of aim that was kind of like what's the word? Almost like it was like they're designed for the map. Like they could make certain shots because they played the map so much, but when you would put them in a different environment, they'd miss a lot of shots because they're just not used to the setup of the map. So it was like that's why I never really, like, I always jumped, like I'm one of the, like, there's not a lot of people that went from like played every mod, like Clan Arena, Deathmatch, and CTF. Usually people play like DM or CA, or they'll just play CTF and then they'll dabble with CA. But like to play all three is there's not many people that did that, and usually and to excel at all of them too is another thing too. Not saying I mean, there's people out there that were better than me at DM. Definitely, there's tons of them. But at CTF, there's only a couple people that really could play on par at the level I was playing at in my prime, which was like, I don't know, maybe 2008. That's what other people say. Like, it's not even my words. I don't even know. I don't really track my gains or anything like that in the game.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying about the whole aiming thing and stuff like that. I swear there's been people where I wanted to call them like an aimbotter. It was just how good they are with the aiming there. But it's the sense of the map. Like once you start learning the map and like where the spawns are and where you think people are gonna run to, because like where like all the items are in the map and stuff. So it's easy to like throw like prediction shots and where people are gonna end up at, because like, oh, if he's going this way, he's probably going to go for like the armor or something like that there, so I can try and navigate ahead of him to try and get over there to stop him from doing that or something. But yeah, there are definitely some people who are very good at certain things, like I've said before, like I'm not very good with like team deathmatch and stuff like that there, but I feel like I'm pretty decent overall in like free for all and stuff like that. That's kind of what I main there. So everybody has their different skill sets, and it's just a great way to play the game.
No, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, that's yeah, it was. There's been what you were saying before with the updates. That's another thing. Like, thanks to Rook, you know what I mean, and like thanks to Woods as well, and Buck. Like, they did so much work recently. But like Rook was doing work from like, oh man, since I remember, since I was a kid. Like, this guy's been doing everything for so much for the community. It's pretty impressive, man. Like, I remember my one buddy I used to play with, Kwong's brother. He always would think, he's like, where's that guy? That guy's a genius. Where is he? Because he was just that guy's just a magician with Quake and programming in general. Like, he knows his stuff. And like, thanks to him, he kept the game alive, because it was him doing all those updates and him making the cheat free. I think he did. Pretty sure he made cheat free a couple like years back. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, thanks to him, like, I mean, he kept the game alive and all that stuff. He helped a lot, like, big time, with those updates, like making the game run cleaner. Because I remember when I started, I was running on like, I think when I first started, I was definitely running on DOS Quake, and then like I went up to like, there was like Windows 95 that came out, and then Pro Quake, and then GL Quake, and then yeah, now we're here pretty much.
Yeah, DOS Quake, yeah. In case you guys are more new to Quake, you'll hear words like, from like the long-term fans of Quake and stuff, you'll hear stuff like DOS Quake and Win Quake and Quake World. So basically, DOS Quake is the first Quake that was released for, well, MS-DOS. That's why it's called DOS Quake. And then Win Quake was a port of DOS Quake that was ported over to later to work on like Windows, NT class stuff like that. And then you'll hear Quake World, another good one, which is a modified version of Net Quake, which is essentially DOS Quake and Win Quake, and the Quake World is the enhanced version of netcode. They're very different physics systems and stuff like that there. So for all those who are new and listen to this podcast there, that's essentially the differences between them. It's a little easier when you get into the game to understand it.
Yeah, I mean the best way to look at it, I mean it's like the game just got smoothed out over the years and bugs and fixed, right? I guess that's where you could look at it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's helped a lot. It's helped a lot because I mean it definitely looks better. I mean, and then Woods came out with all those like patches. It made everything look really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's amazing that these people just do it, and they don't even get. Well, I mean, except for like donations and stuff. I don't have this map. Can you tell somebody to change the map? I'm playing it on QE, so I can't like auto download the map.
Yeah, it's going to.
This happens, I swear, every time I do a podcast on this server. I always get it. No, but it's amazing that that these people they do it for essentially no pay. I mean, some of them probably do like donations or something like that, but like it would be really cool like if some of these people just got like hired through like like id Software just looked at these people and be like, hey, why don't you come join our team and make some maps or do something like that. That would be really cool.
Exactly what I was saying. I was hoping that. I was like, man, they should have just hired Woods for the Rook and Woods for like doing the remake or whatever, the re-release. And I swear I think they would have done a better job because they know what people want. Well, they know what this community wants. I mean, I guess it's different when it's like different generations coming in too, right? And I find that this game's kind of harder for the newer generations to grasp. They all want those like new games. I don't even know their names. Like, what is it, Call of Duty and there's all those new ones people play, man. I can't even remember the names, but you know what I'm talking about. A lot of like instant guns and just like you know what I'm talking about. I'm more arena based. And it's getting smaller. Yeah. That community is getting much smaller. It's harder to find people that like enjoy arena games.
Yeah, because there's definitely that skill set and stuff. I was gonna say, that is true. There are some people like Pero from the Quake 2 community. He did get hired through Night Dive. But I was also gonna say, like just imagine how something like Quake Champions, for example, because I know like a lot of people who play Quake 1, they kind of hate on that game and stuff. And I do agree, like it like overall, I mean it's not a bad game on its own, but like comparing it to like other Quake games, I'd say it's probably like the weakest of them all. Even though I know there's some players out there that would, they would argue about that or something like that, and that's fine. I mean, if you like the game, I'm not like shitting on you or anything about it, but yeah, like to me, like it's the weakest of all the Quakes and stuff. But like I said, it's a good game on its own. So if you play it, just no harm there. I don't want to turn this into like a shitpost or something.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'd prefer probably Quake 2 over it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's much funner. Like overall, it's just a better game.
Yeah.
But the Quake Champions thing. I feel like it's like if it didn't have the Quake name, I don't think it would take so much scrutiny. Like it would if it was a completely separate different name, it would have passed more.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a hero shooter type game, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, like I played it for like literally 5 minutes. The thing was I chose, I don't even remember who I chose, but like when I found out they did have like different attributes, I was like, oh no, I can't do this. This is too much for me. It was like, it got weird. I'm like, that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But yeah, like I said, if people like playing that, that's totally fine. But what's something that tracks you specifically to like Quake and stuff? Like what is it about it that makes you want to keep coming back to this game and stuff?
Oh man, it's everything. Well, it was always capture the flag. There's something about that hook and the whole game altogether where it was like nothing else did it. Like everything else kind of bored me a little bit. And just nothing never grabbed me. I mean, DM is pretty good, but then like when I was playing, it was a lot of just DM3, and like you were saying earlier, where it's like like I know all the shots, I know where everybody is, the little sounds they make. I could tell exactly where somebody is on that map, and it's because it's been played. I've played it God knows how many times, but yeah, when I was playing, it was a lot of like DM3. Like all
Hmm.
these new maps we're playing now, these were all unknown. It was like 99% DM3, and then people would just like one-on-one on like DM6, DM4,
Hmm.
DM2, and stuff like that. But the CTF, see, there was always different maps. There was tons of different maps that people play. Well, not tons. There's like preferred maps, and
Hmm.
then it just yeah, it just seems like it takes the most work. I don't know. It just takes the most focus. I feel like it takes the most brain power or what IQ, whatever people want to call it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just it's one thing that grabs me. And I was when I was younger and I had the time, it was crazy what I used to do to get games. Like, because there was like older guys that used to play. Like when I came around, like there was guys that used to play from like '96, so they're already like in their mid 20s, maybe even early 30s. Some of these guys that were on like MIRC back in the day. So it was like I used to try to rally these guys together. I was like this little annoying kid that used to like just private message people like with no regard, not thinking anything out of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I would go in this like clan gun and stuff. They had a IRC server. They still have it. A bunch of those guys still hang out on there. And I used to spam them. I made my own IRC channel. It was just it was called like number sign CRCTF. And it was, or no, it was like number Jurassic or something, whatever. Because that was like the main server we played on. It was a server in Montreal. So yeah, I would spam MIRC. I started going to like the Quake 3 like the guys who used to play Quake 1, and then they moved to like Quake 3. I would go into those servers and I'd be like, cuz I knew who they were, and I'd be like, "Yeah, come back. We're going to do a CTF thing." And I would even kind of like make up stories like it's more active than it really is, and there's only like 4 people playing. I'm like, "Yeah, we're getting 4 on 4s and stuff like that." But then some of these guys got hyped, and they ended up showing up, and it ended up turning into a big thing. Like there was even a little bit of a comeback. Like I remember, like a big one. I think it was like there was one in like 2005 and like 2008, and like I'm telling you, like the reason why that happened was because I was spamming these IRC servers and going to like the
Hmm.
going to the Quake 3 guys that went the got Quake 1 guys that moved on to Quake 3, and I would go spam their servers so they would come around, and we ended up having like a tournament. Like guys ended up opening up servers and stuff. We hosted like a couple more servers, and then a lot of these old school guys were playing, so I got really lucky. Like there was even that guy, he's well known. He went like pro with Quake 3. I think his name's Chaotix.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So he's really well known. Like he's retired now, but like yeah, he even came back. There's another guy, I can't remember his name, but he was well known too, that came back, and he was playing CTF for a while. And I mean that lasted like almost a year and a half, and then like even after it died down, there was still a bunch of people that hung around and still came around because it was super fun. Like even
Hmm.
these guys they know it too, so it was like it was great. A bunch came back, and then there was another one that came around in like 2008, and then it was like I think it was around when like the cheat free came out, when that was released, and like a bunch of guys from Quake World came back, and or like went back and forth, but they started playing for a while, and a lot of really good guys were playing back then. It was or like around 2005, between 2005 and 8. It was like there was a guy named Nov Mode. He was really good. Like I ran into him in like in Quake Live, and this guy
Hmm.
was just on another level. Like I remember playing him at DM, and him and another guy named Bad Cat Catalyst. Those guys, they were playing on like DM on such a high level where it was like, man, like you know how there's tiers to this, and
Yeah.
it's like that top tier is like so much above that tier below them. It's almost like there should be a level between them. They just have it so
Right.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like kind of seeing that. So I got to pick up a lot of these really good things watching them play, a lot of really good tactics and strategies, and being able to play with them for a long time. Like they stuck around for a couple of years. It was a crazy, crazy run. It was a really good run. Like there was a time where like those DM servers, and again it started because the CTF kind of blew up. So a lot of other guys kind of came around because a lot of those good DMers, they did dabble with the CTF. So they kind of came over. A lot of really good players came, and then yeah, there was a really good DM run for a while. Like I'm talking top tier players. Really fun.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. I'm more new into Quake, so a lot of those names I don't even know. But yeah, that's pretty good. Kudos to all those guys that you mentioned there, just helping to keep the game alive and stuff like that. Very, very much. Yeah, yeah. There's definitely I do agree about the tier thing that you're saying. There's definitely a big difference between like if you call someone like I don't know what tier system like official Quake players use. Like
Yeah,
tier
me neither.
3, 4, or something
I'm
like
just,
that. But
yeah. I'm just saying, like, yeah, just judging like how it would probably be judged, right? If it was.
right, yeah. But yeah, no, there's definitely a big like when you call someone like a tier 3 versus tier 4, like that could be a big gap right there and stuff. So yeah, I've definitely I've definitely seen that. Or even sometimes like when you play like somebody who's like you think is like on the same tier as you or something like that, but he's just I don't know like certain things about him is like better. Like maybe they know the map a little better, or maybe their prediction is a little better or something like that. Yeah, there's definitely stuff like that.
Yeah,
That happens a lot.
Chris is up there. I have to mention Chris. He's really good. Chris is really good. Like that guy, I'm convinced. Like if he was playing Quake World as much as he played like Net Quake, he would have probably been like going to QuakeCon and stuff like that. He's really good.
Definitely, yeah. I've played Chris myself there, and I would I would definitely agree with that. He's very good, especially with that LG. I think he was like wasn't he like the best LGer in Netquake or something like that? I don't know. I thought I heard
Yeah,
something about
I
that.
mean it's debatable. I'm not gonna put myself in like a pedestal, but like I could come very close. And sometimes I have my days where I could outshaft him, but I mean it goes back and forth. But I would say like. Yeah, he'll get me that extra couple times if it really came down to it. Like if we just went at it like 1,000 frags, he would have a couple on me probably.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean my ego's not that big. I could admit who can mess with me and who can't. Like, I mean, Unspoken's one of the best CTFers up there. I mean, like it's debatable who's can do what, but I mean, I would even put him up to par with me at times. I mean, people will say certain things in like skill level wise, but I mean, Woods is up there too. I mean, there's a certain tier that people can play at, but yeah, when it comes to DM, I mean, yeah, Chris is really up there, like all time too. I even from back in the day, even when it was like those guys like Nove Mode and like that guy Bad Cat was playing, like even when those guys are around, I mean, he was holding his ground, no problem with them. There's like APOC. There's like when there was a clan named Clan Capital. They were really good. They were really well known. Those guys were really good. But there's a guy APOC. He was really good. But again, I still think Chris is better than those guys.
Well, there you go, Chris. You got yourself a fan there.
Like he knows it too. That guy's
Yeah.
that guy's the biggest troll. Like he knows he comes and he talks a little smack about it. Like he knows nobody
Ah.
can bet it.
Okay, gotcha. No, but that is one thing I do like about Quake is you don't really see a lot of players that just think they're better than everybody and stuff. Like you really don't see that. Like everybody kind of just gets along in their own way and stuff. At least when they're in game, I don't know what happens behind closed doors to be honest. But yeah, no, there isn't really a lot of players that that try to go in a game and they win and they start like rubbing it in everybody's face or something like that. There, and that's kind of another reason why I like this. I mean, of course, like you give a credit a lot to like the fact that a lot of them have played this game for years and probably played together for years and stuff like that. So they probably, I don't know, maybe they moved beyond that point or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely a well-rounded communities. Everybody's pretty well respected of each other, and if they lose, they're just like, good game, man. I'll try better next time or something like that.
Big time. Like I mean, you didn't really watch me play CTF, but I usually will rig the game against me. I'll usually like I'll pick like lesser good players to like on my team. I'll usually, yeah, 9 out of 10 times I usually make it purposely against myself, so it's harder. Like I don't mind losing at all, as long as people can have fun. That's all I really care about. Like even kind of Buckshot was saying that, when he was on, he's like, yeah, this guy just wants to play. He doesn't really care about anything. I don't really talk too much in the chat when I'm in Quake. Discord's another story, but yeah, when I'm in Quake, it's just, yeah, I just want to get going. Like sometimes I get ADD when I'm just waiting for games to start. Sometimes I'm like, ah, man, just let's go. Who cares really about the teams? They're not that bad. You know what I mean? Just go.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what about it back in the day, it
Mhm.
was like you could just there were so many servers you could connect to. It was like yeah, it was good, man. It's been a good run. I'm glad it's back like the way it is, and it's really cool how this hybrid thing works. Like that's a big game changer in my opinion.
Yeah, I believe it's Buckshot, although he did say some things about it. But yeah, no, I think it's kind of all really been Buckshot, and I mean he probably had some help or something like that. I don't know all the behind the doors scenes about that kind of stuff, but yeah, definitely very good. Just more things that people try to keep alive here is, like actually this is what's bringing, like all the Quake World and NetQuake players and even QE players here. So that's what's bringing everybody together here. So that was a pretty cool aspect that he was willing to do all that, and again, just do it all for free. Like he's not even really getting paid to do any of this. He just does it because he loves the game and he wants to keep it alive and stuff. So that's yeah, very very much well respected for Buckshot there.
Like I always let these guys know, like Rook and Woods and Buckshot, how cool it was for them doing that stuff. I've always thanked Rook for his work. Like since I was a little kid, like it's almost like he was like the older guy you gotta respect. It was just
Mhm.
like, thank you so much for your work, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Uh,
Rook's a real hero in that sense.
oh
Great guy,
yeah,
man.
yeah, definitely.
And again, like you said, man, he did it all on his own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you there. So tell me some of the tournaments that you've been in the past and stuff. Like any really big accomplishments or like really things like maybe you didn't think it was gonna work out that way, but it like surprised you or anything like that.
With Quake,
Yeah.
there was like there was some oh man, there was times where like see the game when the game really died down.
Hmm.
Like there was times where it was so dead, I thought that was it. Like it was never coming back. I mean, like there was so much hacks going on. Like I was like when I was young, I was using hacks. I had my like Quake looked like oh my god, it looked like a mess. It was like it didn't even make sense. I remember one of my friends came over. He goes, "What the heck is going on?" I had these like bike models that would sit like in the player, and so you could kind of see where they're walking, like these big giant spikes coming out of them. So if they were like above you in another floor, they would go right through the floor, so you could basically see everything. You could always see where they are.
Hmm.
There was like quad timers that would do like a countdown for you. There was like there was glows on the armor, so when they would respawn, you could kind of see it from the side of a wall or something. It gives off that glow.
Hmm.
Oh man, there's obviously wall hacks. I mean, there was obviously bots, but it was so obvious when people used the bot, it was almost useless to use because it was like you just get caught and then nobody really likes you after. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it was stupid because it was so obvious and it would just ruin the game. Like people would just leave the server, like, okay, there's a bot, we'll just go somewhere else. So it was stupid. But there was like I was mentioning to you earlier before we went on, there was that guy Neil, man, and it's funny because he's from Toronto, where I'm from, where I live, and I actually met him in real life, right, a few years back. But
Hmm.
he was like a man. He was really good at computers. Like he knew how to do all kinds of stuff. He was a magician, basically. I don't know a better term to use, but basically, he designed like his own EXE, which is like a I guess what's a term for the EXE? Like I don't know, I can't even think. Basically, a version of Quake that you could use.
Oh, okay.
So
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, so he created this thing called the Zero EXE because people were getting caught when they were cheating because people would ask for screenshots and stuff where they would see the way they would catch you is the admin would force a screenshot. So you'd be playing, all of a sudden the game would go into like a into like it shows like it's gonna switch to another map and
Hmm.
shows everybody's score, but it shows all the stuff that's in your pack files. So it would reveal all this extra crap that you have, and then people would see that you're a cheater, and then it would automatically take a screen. The person who does it they would automatically get a screenshot, so they would have you caught with your name and everything, like every hack you have, right? So basically, this guy Neil, he came up with his own EXE, his own Quake version that had that, but you can toggle it. So when they would force that screenshot on you and you didn't see it coming, it would automatically switch right over, like switch instantly to a normal Quake. So it just looked like a vanilla Quake, just normal Quake, like
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Nothing on it. and then that kind of screwed things up for a while. Like everybody was accusing everybody of using it. I was in the same clan as Neil, but I was so young that these guys, they never gave it to me. Everybody thinks I had it, but nobody gave it to me, and I wanted it, but nobody, they're like, no, you can't have it. I was like at the bottom of the roster or something in the clan, so it's like I never got it. I went to my buddy's house who was in the same clan. He had it. I'm pretty sure people know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, he had it, and I got to see it, and I was impressed because like the guy designed this on his own. You know what I mean? He designed it to do all these things and bypass the cheat-free servers that like Rook designed. And yeah, I was more impressed with what he could do. I met him in person. He was like, yeah, he knew all kinds of stuff. Him and his brother, really gifted with computers, really gifted. But that kind of killed Quake for a while, man. It was like it just it was sad. Like everybody, again, it was going around it, bypass things. But then something, I don't know, there was like an update that was able to catch those catch that Quake version. So when you couldn't even connect to any servers with it, and then there was another. That's usually when waves of comebacks would happen. Like when something like that would get fixed, you'd see a bunch of people migrate back. Or usually when people get bored after a couple of years, they're like, you know what, I'm gonna see if anybody's on. Like how it happens now. You'll just see on Discord a bunch of old people just show up out of nowhere, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe you guys are still here. Like Rambo, for instance, you know. I used to play with him since the early 2000s, you know, and he
Wow.
just showed up after 20 years almost, 15 years.
Yeah, wow, that's definitely a long time. It's so funny that you mentioned about the cheating thing because I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the podcast before, but a few months back I was playing in QE just like on the pub servers and stuff like that there, and I had this like really reoccurring toxic player that I think if anyone's played QE they probably know who I'm talking about, but I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to bash him. But anyways, I was on the server there, and he was calling me a cheater and stuff, and he's mentioned that he thought I was like a Pack 2 user and stuff, and I was like, I had no clue what a Pack 2 is or anything like that, and so I looked it up here, and I found this interesting article about Pack 2 that somebody used Pack 2 one time to create like a cross on player models and stuff like that, and basically what it did is it allowed them to like see players as they were coming around like corners and stuff, like if you think like what a cross looks on there, and it's just like stretched really long, so like yeah, so like you would see like the part of the cross coming around the corner, so you would know that player was coming around the corner in there and stuff like that there, and I thought that was kind of
yeah, that's what I called it. It was called like, see, you would download that stuff. You'd put them in, so you'd make a pack file. You'd make your pack 2 because you just have pack 0 and then pack 1. So you'd make a second pack. They called it pack 2. You could have 3, 4, 5, as many as you want.
right.
So you'd make a second pack, and then you'd put all these cheats in it, right? Because the pack files have like the maps, the models, all these little things like to make the game. So you'd replace those with like what you're just talking about. So I had that. It was called the Spike MDL. So exactly what you're talking about, the crosshair on the body. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. The Spike MDL. So you get to see them. Yeah, wherever they're walking, there's a big a big crosshair that runs through the body. It's pretty funny. Like the thing is, everybody was doing it back then. So it was like, you might as well. Like, it kind of killed Quake. But then again, it changed it too. It made it for the better. Like it's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So it was one of those situations where the game evolved again, and then it made it more secure and looked better, ran better, and then yeah, it just kept going.
Was it really that bad? Like just people just use that kind of stuff all the time?
Oh yeah, it was like when you could just run the packs and nothing really, like when people had to manually catch you, like what I was talking about with the auto screenshot. That was yeah, that time basically almost everybody was doing, from what I've been told. Like there's a lot of guys that like I found out were cheaters after that, like nobody had a clue about. Like there's a really good DM player, Cabalist. This guy was like I put him at Chris's level. He was up there. Like he was just like remember we were talking about the tiers? He was one of those guys on that next tier. So everybody found out like he was cheating years later, and there's another guy who's really good, Exile, and he was just known as a cheater. Like after a while, it's like once that was known back then, and you were really good, you're pretty much, your reputation was done. If you were just a crappy player, it didn't really matter. But when you were somebody, it was like, oh man, guess who got cheating? It was really big back then.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. I didn't know that there, but hopefully
Yeah,
it's
like
not still like that.
that guy Exile, he like showed up. He showed up in like the Discord, and
Mm.
he's been around for like God, it was way before me. Like when I came on, he was already like super good. So he's been playing for years probably. And I came around like 2000, 2001. When he showed up on Discord a couple of years ago, I think it was like Bruce too. He goes, "That guy's a cheater," right away. Like that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like that was the memory of Exile after. It was just okay. He was just a cheater now.
Yeah. So my next question was going to be, and I think you kind of answered this already, but my next question was going to be like, how do people catch these cheaters? Because you mentioned the screenshot thing though, but wouldn't like couldn't somebody just like turn it off or something, or like dodge the screenshot or something like that? Like, how does that guarantee that somebody isn't actually cheating? Like,
Screenshot I don't. It was almost impossible. Like if the guy became admin of the server, this is
mhm.
like when servers had this like admin code stuff. I don't know. Some of them still do. I'm not even sure. But anyways, it was like yeah, you can force a screenshot. And it forces the screenshot of what whoever player you want, and yeah, that was one way. And then another way, it was like what people would do is they would like basically eye cam them. You know, they would go like observer mode. They would eye cam them against other people, and they would just watch them, and then possibly they would like demo them and be like, see, look, here's the proof. Da 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 da. You know what I mean? They'll be like, yeah, they'll point certain things out that are just fishy. The thing is, it was like if you're using cheats, like you just can't make it obvious, and that was the thing. Like stupid people would just make it obvious, where it's like, look, he's always waiting behind each corner as I move, he moves. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it was like that's the way it would suck too because it was like you had to manually catch them and then accuse them and then like there's always the denial part so everybody could just be like no it's not true, no it's not true, and what can you really say unless you have the actual like screenshot, right?
yeah,
Unless they make it super obvious, but I mean like really good people didn't make it obvious, you know, and that's what's sad too. Like we find out years later that a lot of these really good players like cheated. But what's sad too is like a lot of the times they didn't because it was like they might have cheated one two times and then end up getting caught and then their whole name was ruined because it was like I dabbled with cheats for like a couple months just because it was like it was kind of fun, kind of got bored of the game, wanted to see something different. And to be honest, like you kind of learn from the wall hack too. You kind of get to really see where people are and how they move when when you're not around them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like you kind of get to learn something from that too. But it was like yeah, I don't know. There was obviously people that cheated nonstop, but I think those really good guys, I don't think they did as much as people might have accused them. It might have been just a couple times, and then that time they got caught. I don't think their whole careers are based on it. I don't see because their skill level was just so high, you know, at times. Like I
Hmm.
just can't see it possible. Like especially when there was no hacks around at the beginning and like they were still up there, you know. But I mean, don't get me wrong, it's possible. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I never really thought Quake had really that much problem with, which I mean, of course, I would expect like maybe some people over the course of time cheated or something, but I never knew it was really that bad. I figured it was always like a game that was like it almost seemed kind of pointless to cheat because it's really not that it's really not that hard. Well, I mean, it is. It's kind of hard to like get really mastered with or something like that. But I didn't really think it was like a game that people actually try to go out of their way to cheat or something like that. There, but yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, it would be disappointing too. Like especially if you really like that player, if you found out like you played with them for years or something, and you found out later that they cheated or something like that. There, that would be pretty. That would be a pretty much bummer at moment at that time.
Kind of felt like that about that Kabbalist guy because he was really well known. Like he was up there, and then it was found out that yeah he was using all kinds of cheats. It was like oh man, what the hell? I'm like I thought this guy was legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I
But
gotcha.
I was gonna say something else that you just mentioned, but I completely forgot.
No
Damn.
worries. I'm sure it'll come to you. It always
Yeah,
does to me.
yeah, it should. And then yeah, that oh, that, I think yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, those times that's basically kind of what killed Quake. It was like it was just knowing that everybody cheats like that. Like it was like there's I was like I would ask people on like MIRC back in the day like that went to play other games. These older guys and oh, that's what I was gonna say too. Is what I just remembered. So the reason why people kind of cheated back then is because there was actually quite a bit of clients. Not a lot, but it was enough to make the game really fun and competitive. And a lot of us were like, you know, in our like late teens, early 20s and stuff. So a bunch of us. So it was like there's still that like a bunch of competitiveness, like everybody was
Hmm.
very competitive. Everybody was like the biggest smack talkers back then. It was insane. And it was like, and it was always like, let's go one on one, and like people would come watch because it was like just two egos going at each other. So it was like there was this is my reason why I think people would cheat because probably ego, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
yeah, there was a lot of competition when I first came in. When I first came in the early 2000s, there was that's like right when it started to really die down because there was so much cheats coming out back then. And yeah, there was a lot of competition there, especially for Clan Arena. Clan Arena got pretty big, and then yeah, DM was still active. Not too many clans. There was a few, but it was like a cycle of like 8 clans that just kept going back and forth in deathmatch. But like Clan Arena had a bit more when I came around. Maybe like 15 to 20. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I don't really remember, but I think there was maybe like 15 to 20. Seems like a lot. Seems like there was a lot.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a decent pool back then. But it was like everybody kind of migrated back and forth. It was so weird how I never understood how public CTF died though, because it was like there was two big servers.
Hmm.
Like when I came around, there was two big servers. There was Hating, and there was M Town, and those they were like full all the time, like all the time.
Hmm.
And like out of nowhere, they just kind of like they literally like I'm talking like if this was to be like graphed, it would just be a straight line down. Like it never made sense to me what happened. I think it was maybe Quake 3, but it was just the worst die off I've ever seen. It was sad.
Oh wow. Yeah. Did it so
Yeah.
like did that die off like faster than like team deathmatch or something like
Oh,
that?
yeah. It was like those few CTF players that stuck around. They they went to like play Clan Arena and like some deathmatch. Not too much, a lot of Clan Arena, but like a couple of them migrated, and then like we would get organized games. That's where like the CRCTF really took off because it's like the people who really have that. It's more CRCTF is more organized, right? It's more like
Hmm.
what do you say pro, I guess. Like you pick the teams. It's like that you get that different hook. I don't know. The flags look better and stuff. It just looks cooler. It's like the elite CTF.
Hmm.
And so like we try to organize those games through like when we can through the people that knew how to do it. But that was one of the hardest things with the CTF. It was people getting used to the hook. Like nobody, people refuse to play because they're like, this hook thing is just so stupid. Da, 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 I can't get used to it. And the people that really knew how to use it, it was almost like they had a monopoly on the game. Like that figured out how to really get good at it. And it takes a decent amount of time to like master that thing. Like it takes to get it down to the level like me and Woods and like Unspoken and like Kwong and stuff like that use it at. It's like it takes years and years and years potentially. Like unless you just sit on servers and practice it, like, and that's the crazy thing too, because like when I was young and I had time to do all this crap, it's like I would sit on servers and do that stuff. I would sit on like CTF servers just waiting for people to come like one on one, and
Hmm.
I'd get the random person if it wasn't my buddy who lived down the street. But yeah, the grappling hook really deterred people. And for people who don't know what the grappling hook is, it's basically like a ball and chain that wherever you shoot it, it kind of pulls you to the wherever you aimed it
Hmm.
at, wherever it's hooked
Yeah.
to. And then when you release it, you have to hold the button. And then when you release it, you fall down. So you can basically get to any corner, nook and cram of the map, and you can pick up speed and do like bunny hops and stuff with it if you know how to use it the right way.
Hmm.
So that's what the grapple hook is, and yeah, a lot of people they just couldn't grab that. It was just it's too much for them, and I don't blame them. I mean, I can't even imagine what that thing is like trying to get used to. Like I can't even imagine like brand new. Like you probably look at that thing and be like, what the heck is this? And most people just quit. Just like we had that we make that joke about the theory about the new people when they come onto the server, they usually quit or just leave mid game, right? Because it's like it's it's a very hard game to grasp if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly how it is with like the difference between like Quake World and Quake. It's exactly that skill curve right there that you mentioned there. But yeah, yeah. If you guys watch and just watch my episode with Woods, I believe it was. We pretty much just hooked around the whole entire episode there. Yeah, yeah. But it's basically the hook that just lets you like fly around and stuff. A grappling hook, pretty much. That's all it is there. But yeah, yeah, it's definitely because I know like when QE added through wave CTF and they added the hook and stuff like that onto there. I know like one of the things that I remember a lot of people who have played who have played like CTF before outside of QE and stuff, like one of the complaints they said was like the hook was just a little too, it was like too slow and stuff like that. I know that was like one of the complaints there too. So, but it's that skill because like the people who played CTF, they're the ones that know how the hook works. So when you change something like that, it changes kind of the game that they were used to and that they skilled upon. And I think that's kind of that applies the same to people who don't play CTF and now they have to master this hook and stuff. So it's like a new mechanic to them and stuff.
It adds a whole different thing to the game, like completely different atmosphere, everything to the game. It's a complete game changer. It's yeah, that's what I really liked about it was like the speed factor too for me. It was like I really like that picking up the speed, and then like the fact that to learn how to like grapple and fight at the same time, flying through the air. I got hooked at those like literally like hooked like addicted to like making those shots. Like me and me and Mueller, like we would basically sit on servers. He's another Quake player, CTFer. He's really good. We would sit on Quake servers and basically just practice mode, just on CTF, just grapple fighting back and forth till like we hit 100. Like that was our thing. We did that, and like when Quake was dead, that's the type of stuff we would do. We would basically just go on these servers every once in a while and just shoot it out for a while. And like even if it was dead, it was like every couple months we'd still like we'd figure out a way to just do that P mode for a while, the practice mode, and just basically just grapple fighting for a couple hours. It's like it was just yeah, it's just fun doing that. Like there's so much there's so many different aspects to fighting with the grapple hook where it's just so much just can happen. I kind of compare it to I compare it to chess, regular Quake like chess, and then you have chess 960, which is the Bobby Fischer chess, and that's CTF, which is like it's basically chess where you have the back row is random. Like the same rules still apply where the bishops have to be on different colors, the queen still has to be on her own color. Those things still apply, but other than that, it all has to be randomized, right? So that's how I kind of look at CTF compared to regular Quake. It's a whole different dimension. Just so many, and the fact that there's so many different maps played too. That's the only thing that deterred me really from from playing DM like in my early days. I only play after, also because the guys are really good. Like I would just get crushed because it was always DM3 and they just had that map so locked down. Those guys they've been playing it since like '96. Like sometimes you never get the rocket launcher. It's impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely something really satisfying with getting hook kills. I don't know what it is. It is very satisfying. It's almost like one of those like threaded needle situations, because like just the way like the speed of the hook versus like like depending on the distance, like how small the character is. So like you actually have to time your shot to actually hit the character, but once you hit it, like just something weirdly there's like it's very satisfying just to get a kill with the hook and stuff like that. And that was like always one of my favorite things of playing CTF was just to see if I could get like a hook kill or something like that because it was just so cool.
Yeah, it's something about it. Like I said like I was saying earlier, when I was playing in my earlier days when I was really young and I took this stuff like it was my thing, It's like I guess it's just the competitiveness of me. I don't know. I always played sports and I was so I kind of focused all that into Quake when I started playing. It was like my new thing. So I went full on with it. And it was like yeah, those moments are really satisfying. They're very satisfying. It's it's kind of it's interesting to watch when you see like really good hook fights. It's I mean, there's nothing like it in any first-person shooter game. You you can never replicate that in any other game. It just doesn't exist. It's such a unique thing, and it's such a certain type of aim that I find like usually like I remember back in the day like usually the best DM players they played CTF as well, and I always had a theory because it's like you're again it's like chess 960 to regular chess where there's so many different factors playing out for a CTF player to get into DM, especially if it's just one map. It's very easy, and they also have those different shots that they take, that those different angles, different speeds that like DM players are not really used to. Don't get me wrong, DM players are still good that just play DM, like they had their maps down to to a science. But I mean, when I would watch these CTS players, you could just tell there's something different about them. They have an extra edge on them. That's why I always played it too, because I was like, I want that extra edge.
I think the way it's like that with the maps and stuff, I think it's because a lot of the other maps just suck, right? Like DM2, 3, 4, 6, those are good maps, but a lot of the other ones just kind of sucked. So like people latched on to like DM2, 4, 6, stuff like that because those were really good maps and people learned them and stuff there. And I'm talking like early, very very early, like before Quake World and stuff like that. There and then Quake World comes along and people started getting into mapping and stuff like that. So they made better maps because obviously the default ones just weren't doing it and stuff. So stuff like that there. But I think that's kind of like the way it ended up like that way, just because a lot of people didn't a lot of the maps just were terrible.
They, I, yeah, and it was just it just got so repetitive. That was the thing for me. But it's funny I say that because at the same time, like I remember when there was those comebacks for CTF where it was like literally sometimes, man, it was like all day you could play, and the servers always had people cycling through at different times. So it was like almost nonstop sometimes, and it got to the point where and like CTF is like I have a passion for it, but it got so there was so much CTF going on where I started going on DM servers and just playing DM, and I remember like Crackdog was coming on the DM server. He's like, Bosh, what the hell, man? He goes, we're all CTFing. How are you not CTFing? And I was just like, it's just it's too. I gotta switch up. It's too much for me, and it was just,
Yeah, gotta change it
yeah.
up a little bit. Get a little something new or something you're not familiar with.
Yeah, and I felt it was like the DM. It's almost like you get to focus on certain things that you can't focus on in CTF. Like you really get to like hold. See, I'll tell you this. What really changed my game in CTF. So when I first started playing, I was okay. When I joined Clan Zero, which was like the clan that was like pretty well known and good. So they they made me just run the flag. Like that was my job. It was like I was just the flag runner. So that that after I started playing DM a lot, it completely switched up my CTF game where it's very hard for me to go back to my old style, like thinking about the flag. So I basically after I DM'd for a while, because again, like sometimes there was these waves where there'd be no CTF and then CTF, but then no DM, then there's DM and then no CTF and then just CA. So there's all these different waves. So basically when I went through where there was just DM, it completely changed my CTF game where I really couldn't go back to normal. It was almost like instead of me like capturing the flag or playing defense or going for like doing those little jobs, I was just basically going for kills and like going for the quad and just like trying to assist the flag runner and just trying to clean the map out to make the game so much easier for my other team. You know what I mean? For the rest of my team players. So that kind of messed my game up too because it made me selfish and like I was just focusing on again getting kills when CTF. All you gotta do is run the flag and you win, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it was like it was weird because it was always hard for me to go back to like actually capturing the flag, but like I'll do it, but I have to force myself. It's really weird. Like I have to constantly tell myself just run the flag, or I'll just completely forget and go for kills. It's like I know what it is too. It's like I'm always trying to break my record in my head that I think I've been around for that map. You know what I mean? Even though I don't have an exact number, it's like, oh, I know that's like high up there. I know that's probably better than what I last did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Weird
I
stuff
gotcha.
like that when I play CTF. That it's like it's hard for me to actually focus on like capturing the flag like I used to. That was my job. Like I was good at it. So it's like I should do it, but I guess it's I don't know. I guess I go for the fun factor. Like that's another thing that happened too. Like over the years, like I used to be really like calculated and like very strategic, but like in the later years, I've just become very aggressive. Chris is like that too. Like he plays very aggressive. Like I would say me and him are the most aggressive players. Like we just go at it because we just depend on like, all right, well it was hopefully it will just duke it out and my aim will work out. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I remember like me and Chris like we made this clan. It was just like kind of a joke. It was like WOU, we own you. Oh, WOY. But we use the U, so we just put U. And yeah, we basically we just went around like talking smack and like just us two because we were like dominating at the time. And then like he makes jokes about it too because every time like sometimes I would come back and I gotta give it to Kwong for this because man, that guy won't play for like 2 years and he comes back and he's playing like he never stopped playing. It's crazy to me. Because like me, when I came after I'd go on these hiatuses, I don't know, maybe I'm slow, but it takes me like takes me like 3, 4 months sometimes to get anywhere close to like back to what I used to. But I think even now, like I'm much older, I don't think my reflexes are the same. Like when I was like 18, 19, I feel like I was kind of in my peak back then.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of that same way too. Like if I stop playing a game for a while, it might take me a few days to fully get my like full skill set back, stuff like that. There, like even now, like to be honest, I haven't really been playing Quake 1 all that much there because I kind of been playing Quake 2 and stuff. But yeah, no, I agree with you that sometimes people are different. Some people can get their skill back in just like, oh yeah, one round and I'm back to normal, and some people it just takes a few days there. It's just how we're all unique in our own way and stuff. But before we call out here, I wanted to ask one more question here. What is your what would you say was your most like memorable thing in Quake? Like something you either wish you could go back and do again because it was just so awesome, or maybe something that really surprised you or something. What's your most memorable thing about Quake?
That's a really good. That's a great question. Hmm. It's hard to say. Like maybe accomplished wise, I feel like when I spammed those MIRC channels back in the day, and I got all these older players to play. I'm talking guys that used to play in '96, and they probably some of them quit around like even '98, '99. You know what I mean? And I was able to get these guys to play for a while. Like these are really well known names. Like because like when I came into Quake, it was like I'd hear about these names, like, oh well, this guy was really good. He's not around anymore. And like as I got better, I always wondered like, am I doing better than this guy? Am I just as good? If he came back, would I be able to beat him? You know what I mean? Like Wolf is really good, and he was like really he's old school. He's been around since like '96. He was known as like the best CTFer out there. I mean, there's others, but like off the hop, like when I think about it back in the day, like he was the most well known. So it was like I'd hear about these names. So when I was able to do that and then get all these guys to start playing again, and then I took my game to the next level, like I was satisfied. Like you know how I know I was satisfied when I started playing DM over CTF. That's how I know I was satisfied.
That's
But
kind of how my experience when I started playing Quake here when QE came out, and Dan found me on one of the pub servers. He's like, oh yeah, come to the Discord here. That's kind of how I was too. Like he started telling me about all these like these really good players and stuff like that there. So like I just like kind of made it a goal like back then, like I was gonna like play a lot of these players and see like where my skill set level is and stuff like that there, because obviously I'm much newer than some of these other guys here. Like some of these other guys have played way longer than I have, so it's like I didn't know like where I stood on like a skill level, if I was like really bad at a game or really good there. So that was like my ultimate goal there. But yeah, that I kind of had like a similar experience just like you had, like what you said.
it was just like I wanted to see because again, and it was like because CTF just had it's such a dynamic thing with that hook and everything. It's not a normal game, so it's like I want to see how other people use the grapple hook. I want to see how they grapple and do these like shots in the air, and how fast they can capture the flag, and all these things are like when I was a kid, it was like a big mystery to me, and it really grabbed me. You know what I mean? Like to see their different styles. Like I remember I used to watch demos of these old guys playing, like these old school guys. Like I used to go like there's some of their websites are still up, like Clan Gun and like I think even Clan Rum, like they still run that stuff. So there's all those old demos on there. And when I was younger, I used to just watch them sometimes in my free time when I'd find really good ones, like when I just go by the clan and stuff. So I knew all those names, but yeah, when I did that kind of like that when I opened up that IRC channel. Was it number sign Jurassic or number sign CRCTF? I don't really remember, but it started a wave. It was a wave. It started a wave and it lasted really long, and it kind of usually when there's those waves, they kind of bleed into other things. Like I said, the DM and like the CA. So it kind of brings a whole thing, a whole revival back. But I'd say that was probably one of the one of the happiest things I've done for the communities. I mean, it's the least I can do with all the stuff these guys do. You know what I mean? Like Woods and Rook and
Definitely.
stuff. Because I mean, they enjoyed it too. And it sucks because some of those guys missed it. Like when they hear about it, they're like, "Oh, that guy was playing again in 2008." They're like, "Damn, I was in university at the time. I missed it." Da 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 da. But yeah, it's been a long time, and it's been fun. And that's the thing too. Like I don't know why this game doesn't get boring. Like even when I take a break, it's just like even if I take a hiatus, I gotta open it up every once in a while. It's something about it. I don't know what it is. So it's like I always loved chess. I just feel like this is a different version of chess.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah, great stuff and everything. Yeah, that's kind of why I do these podcasts too, because like you see about those good players there that do the programming and stuff like that there, and then like I could never do that kind of stuff there, and I'm not skilled in that area there, so that's why I try to do something to help keep the game alive myself here, and that's pretty much stuff like that is what inspired me to do these podcasts and stuff. So we gotta do what we can in our own ways, and we can't contribute as much as others do, but at least we can do something, right?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's great. Like I like the fact that it's a small community too. I mean, it's perfect. It's like I don't know. It just feels like again, everybody likes that community feeling. When you're always going to a server and it's just random people, I don't know. I don't like that feeling. I want to know who I'm playing with. You know what I mean? It's a good feeling. It's just I've been around here for so many years. It's just yeah. I don't think I'll ever quit. I can't see it. Like no matter what, I'll always pop it open here and there. Even if I what quote unquote quit. I don't think I can fully retire. There's always going to be that day where I got to open it up.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that too. Yeah, true skill never really dies. I think. I mean, I think like even if like for example, if you played Quake and then you quit for like 5 years or something like that, I feel like everybody will get that skill level back. It may take time, but you'll get back to pretty much how you were back then, or maybe even better. Who knows?
Like years back, like when I was doing those, me and Mueller were doing those like practice mode things. There was a time where I came back. I don't know what it was with me, but like nobody believed it was even me. Like they thought I was cheating like before because like before I left I was like really good, and then I came back. It was like 2 years later, and for months I just could not get it back. I ended up quitting. I'm like I never could do this again. But I don't know what it was. It was my config. I just couldn't get things right. But then I remember coming back. I fixed a few things. I changed a few things, and then it just felt better. And then yeah, eventually it came back. But I don't know. I just feel because of old age. I mean, I'm 35 now, and I feel like it's not. I'm not as fast a reaction as I used to be. It feels like it, but I don't think I am. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know. I don't think I'm like I just feel like I don't get like the rocket angles like I used to when I was younger. There's the little things that are off here and there, but like the lightning gun, I feel it's like you can't really lose the lightning gun, but the rocket launcher is something different. Like you can lose that, like the angles and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with all that. Yep, pretty much. I have similar experiences of my own with that stuff. But we did hit our 1 hour mark here, Bosh. Was there any last minute things you wanted to say or anything you wanted to share?
I just want to thank Buckshot, thank Woods for vouching for me, and just want to thank Rook for all his work that he's done, and obviously thank you for the podcast. I've been enjoying it, and keep it up, and hopefully we keep this game going. And yeah, don't mind. Nobody should mind those Discord posts. No offense on them. Nobody should take emotion on them. It's all in love.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Bosh, for coming on here. That is going to conclude episode 11. Yeah, episode 11 of the Squid QE podcast with guest. Another great episode there to listen, and definitely you guys can always listen to this in the future. I always keep the podcast live on my, well, not live, but on my YouTube channel there, so you can listen to them anytime pretty much. While you're driving a car. I mean, it's just audio only mostly here. I do record the video games, but I do design these for pretty much audio only, so you can listen to them even while you're at work or whatever there, guys. But I'm going to go ahead and end episode 11 here. Thank you, Boss, so much for coming on the podcast here and having all the great talk. Learned a lot of stuff with you, and hope you had a good time.
I did. Appreciate it, buddy. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man.
Take care.